I had something similar actually. Not a million miles away from it. Like I went down to right. So I was seeing this lady friend
Right.
down in Wales, and I went to meet her, and like we'd had a few dates and that, and I was traveling from Port Talbot down to Lampeter it was, and we everything was good, but like I don't know if you know this, Sam, but like I'm going bald, right? I know it's a shock, yeah, but I hide it
Didn't
pretty
want to say
well. But
anything.
back then it was the old 2p piece,
All right,
like
yeah,
just
yeah.
at the back
Just
of
a
the head.
very small balding, yeah.
Yeah, right. So it was just so because I had all my other hair long, right? How to describe it? Like when, right? Okay, when you're like flying out over a plane, and you're looking at just like a nice bit of forest, and then there's just some horrible black reamed out patch.
Yeah.
Like, you're like,
Where
what
the
the fuck
campfire
happened there?
was.
Yeah, like just like I don't know, it got burnt down, or
Kids spray painted it.
Saruman's been breeding orcs, or you don't know what you don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
So it was like that on the back of my head because it was just all hair, and then just this little patch where the hair was just wispy, like under your ball bag or something. But the rest of my hair was just hair. So anyway, I fucking bicked my head.
Right.
I thought,
All
fuck
in.
it, yeah, all in, right? Like bollocks to it. So I bicked my head and went down to see her again, and I turn up. And she takes one look at me, looking like a plugged chicken,
Yeah.
and she says, "Just nah." And I'm like, well, no, this legit happened, man.
Brexit, dog.
She
I'm out.
she Brexited out of my heart, mate. Right? I was like, "What do you mean, nah?" And she goes, "Nah, look at the fucking state of you." Legit, dog. This honestly fucking happened.
Rinsed.
This honestly fucking happened. Like I got rinsed and travelled down all that fucking way. Thought, here we go, right? Lovely bit of
pickle.
yeah, lovely bit of sex. Nah, right? So got wrecked.
Cool.
And I was like, well, I've come down to see you, like, I've come down to see you specifically. Like, where am I going to stay? No, my problem. But she was just like, have a look at your life. She was so, mate, it just blew. Yeah, it blew her mind that I might want to shave my head. Like, it just blew her fucking mind, So. So I'm like, this is fucking bad, like I've got nowhere to stay. And I used to, right, like if I ever got arseholed and couldn't make it back to my room, there was this one like posh little hall where all the rich students used to stay in, and it had a communal toilet, right? And and what you could do is you could get in there without anyone seeing you, and you could lie on the floor and just put your feet against the door, so it was just like it was locked, so people couldn't open it. And I've had many a fine night on that toilet floor down the years. So I thought I'm gonna go do that, So I thought, fuck it. Sooner because obviously it's a shithole small Welsh town, so I couldn't even get back to Port Talbot by this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no way back. I was just
Too
trapped,
deep.
like. Yeah, just trapped. I'm just too deep in the fucking mumbles. You know what I mean? It's all over. Like public transport shut down. No one can drive, obviously, because that requires operating machinery. So fuck it, right? So I just thought, sooner I go to bed, I'll get up about 5 a.m. I'll catch the 6 a.m. bus home, and we'll just never speak about Baldgate ever again. So I'm lying on this toilet floor, right? And I'm thinking, I can't go out like this. This cannot be happening to me, right? Richie fucking Lewis. This cannot be happening. So I just got up and I found a bar that was still open, and I was down there, and there was some crusty student, with the stinky dreads and the fucking, and the yellow teeth and all.
Sort of guy, like.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because obviously capitalism wants us to bathe, so we reject it. The building blocks of anarchy, right? You start by just not having a wash.
Yeah.
If my foreskin's humming, I'm doing something right,
Start of activism.
Yeah, you go. That's how activism begins, right? So I saw him, and he was at the bar, and he was selling magic mushrooms that he'd picked earlier, because obviously it's Wales. Yeah, the classic, right? And this cunt had literally gone up there, and he just mined we had this huge hill called Magic Mountain, and every September it was brown with magic mushrooms, right? Brown with magic, and he'd gone up there and mined it all, like just completely, just took all of them.
But
Yeah, and then he was selling them, and he was selling them to people. So I just went up to him and I was like, look, mate, I'm having a real rough time. How much for them mushrooms? And I'm expecting, $5. you know, for that. He was mad. He was selling them for like 25 quid a gram or something. It was unreal. Like, I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? And he went, no, that's the price, mate. I'm like, tell you what, I'm going to do you a deal. I will not break your stick-thin arms if you just give me 100 mushrooms. There's a tenner. That's reasonable. Come on, give them now. So I took these mushrooms and I ate them all, right? Because I thought, I'm having a bad time, right? I've got nowhere to stay. It's time to just pull the fucking rip cord and just sail down to Lunacy Island, you know what I mean? And just see what's on there, right? So I eat like 100 of these mushrooms. And then I'm having a wander in the woods and they're kicking in. So obviously, you go out to the woods. And I'm thinking, I'll just sleep out here. I don't even mind that it's wet and cold and I'll probably die of hypothermia because, you know, this bird's just rejected me for having a big, shiny, bald head. Anyway, I don't remember lots of it, but I do remember, right, I spent about 4 hours, or well, what felt like 4 hours, probably 4 days, I don't fucking know. There was a sheep there, obviously it's Wales, but he was just one, and he was just lost. There was no other sheep around. He was just having a roam, you know? Yeah. And I was like, right, I want to see if I can talk to the sheep, you know? Like, let's see if I can tell him. Yeah. So the only thing I remember from this entire trip is just making eye contact. But I got super close to it. Didn't run away or anything. Making eye contact with this sheep wrecked out my mind on shrooms. Anyway. Fucking turns out you can't talk to them telepathically. That's just the mushrooms talking.
Sheep, like,
mad waste of time it was. Yeah. So then I slept under a tree, woke up. It was about 8 a.m. I was soaked in rain, covered in slugs, and I went and got on a bus and went home. So when I'm having a breakdown, I do the same thing, mate. Yeah. I head for the hills and I take my cues from Mother Nature. You know,
it's the best way to do it, man.